Hello, welcome to Monsters Reborn, the show where I look at a classic film and compare it to its remake. There are 6 categories for comparison: story, scare factor, hero, villain, style and tone, and entertainment factor. Today we will be putting the original Universal Mummy film from 1932 against the 1999 remake. We will be ignoring the Hammer version because it's not about Imhotep. The same goes for the 2017 version, which is about a female mummy and is mostly unrelated to the original. So let's get started. First off is story. Both films tell the story of Imhotep, an Egyptian priest in love with a princess. After she dies, Imhotep is caught trying to resurrect her and is condemned to be mummified alive and has a curse placed on him. From there, the films differ a bit. The original is mostly from Imhotep's point of view and focuses on the love story without the need for tons of extra details and characters. The remake has a lot of extra material going on, with lost cities, different monsters, plagues, all kinds of doomsday stuff. They both tell the story well, but I think the original does it without overstuffing the film with extra details that didn't matter all that much. It's close, but I'm giving the point to the original. Next up is scare factor. The original has one very scary scene near the beginning, when the mummy first wakes up. It's very slow, quiet and effective. But the rest of the film is more of a tragic romance with some suspense. The remake, however, is packed full of scary moments. The scarabs, the way the mummy kills people and takes their body parts, the suspense when the characters are trying to escape a collapsing tomb. Neither film is that scary, to be honest, but still an easy point for the remake. Next up is villain. Imhotep in the remake has a lot of superpowers and is immortal. The overall tone is quite funny, and although Arnold Vosloo does a good job on the role, he never feels like a complete character. He has very few lines and runs away at the sight of a cat. Boris Karloff in the original film is fantastic, whether as Imhotep in the flashbacks or when he's posing as Ardif Bey. He feels like a very clever and cunning villain who we also feel quite sorry for. Karloff is a fantastic actor. As usual, he gives 100% to the role. This point definitely goes to the original. Now it's time to talk about the hero. A big problem for the original in this category is that so much of it's from Imhotep's perspective. Edwin Van Sloan plays Dr. Muller, and he honestly feels a lot like Dr. Van Helsing from the original Dracula, but less interesting. The remake, on the other hand, stars Brendan Fraser as a very funny and memorable hero. He has good one-liners and a likeable Indiana Jones personality. He's probably the best thing about the remake, and considering Dr. Muller is the worst thing about the original, this is a very easy win for the remake. Next is style and tone. The original, while slow-paced at times, is oozing with atmosphere. It's a moody and dark film that reminded me very much of the original Dracula from the previous year. I also very much like the attention to the Imhotep character. This helped with the suspense as well as my sympathy. On the other hand, the remake is a good-looking film that's full of good jokes and has a tone that manages to balance horror and comedy without feeling disjointed. I'm having a hard time choosing, so let's call this one a tie. Before we get on to our final category, the score so far is 3 points for the original and 3 points for the remake, meaning that this last category will be the decider. At last, we move on to the entertainment factor. While the original has a lot of great moments and is very well made, it's quite slow paced and doesn't have an interesting hero. The remake, on the other hand, action-packed and full of memorable moments. I've also watched the remake tons of times, whereas I really have to be in the mood for the original. So as you can imagine, I'm giving this one to the remake. So there you have it. It was a close call, but I'm giving the win to the 1999 version. They're both very good, and you should watch both if you haven't. But personally, I prefer the remake just a little. Unfortunately, YouTube has disabled comments on my videos. But if you'd like to give some feedback on the video, maybe you disagree with my points, maybe have a suggestion for another comparison video, please send a message to my Facebook page. There's a link in the description. See you next time where we put another classic against its remake.